benefit number two was also that I feel good about it myself, contributing to the cause again, because it is another effective form of activism.
100% agree, Michael. It is definitely an effective form of activism.
Hello beautiful beings, it's Rebecca, the Vegan Pixie Warrior, and welcome to my channel. If you've not been here before, my channel is all about uplifting other animal rights activists, those of us on the front line that you don't hear about and you don't see about. Also, giving you inspiration of new ideas that you can become active for the animals, because there is more than just direct action and the cube of truth. Believe me, there's so much more. And I want to make it accessible to everybody. So if that sounds like your sort of thing, hit that subscribe button and like and share the video. Come on, just tap it. It's exercise your weak vegan finger. Come on, vegan deterioration. Hit the button. Today I'm back talking to Michael again. This time we're talking about his Liberation Pledge, something that is very close to my heart. If you've not heard about the Liberation Pledge, I'll pop a link up and you can find out the video of why I took the pledge. But for now, we're going to find out why Michael took the pledge. And I hope by the end of the video you're inspired to take it.
So I want to welcome Michael back to my channel. Thank you, Michael. We've spoken before about your activism, and I asked you to come back on because you've also taken the Liberation Pledge. I should say, first of all, how are you? Before I dive into that.
Thank you. I'm doing great. Thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad that we're finally getting getting out there and doing activism again. It's nice to be back out on the streets and talking to the public.
It is.
So,
it is.
yeah, it'll be good. I saw you on Stacey on Trash Carcass's channel, and you were talking about veganism all over the world, which she's doing a series on, which is fantastic. But you also mentioned in that video that you'd taken the Liberation Pledge, so that's why I mainly approached you for that. And the first question I always ask people is why you became vegan. But I'm going to put a link because I'm going to put a link up here. I think it's up here on the YouTube to our activism talk that we did, because you talk about how you went vegan there. So what I want to find out is what led you to take the Liberation Pledge?
So yeah, it was kind of a natural calling to do something to motivate the public to make a change in their behavior. And I was thinking about this from early on when I became vegan. Is there anything I can do without it sounding it like blackmail or just kind of, rough?
Yeah.
Is there anything I can do to just make a stance? And then I think I was talking with Alex Baez of Amazing Vegan Outreach, and he mentioned that he had the Liberation Pledge, and so that he took the Liberation Pledge and has been actually promoting it too, and explaining to activists how it works and how they can get involved in this whole movement, actually. And so I did a little bit of research, and I thought, wow, this is perfect. I'm signing up, and that was almost 3 years ago.
3 years ago. I just explained to people that maybe haven't watched this before or don't know about the pledge. I'll put a link up here to a video I did about my Liberation Pledge. So the Liberation Pledge is where you refuse to sit with anyone where they are consuming animal products. So I think on the pledge itself, it says just the flesh, but I've taken it to dairy and eggs as well. So I've taken it to that extent. So how did your friends and family react to you taking the Liberation Pledge?
So various reactions, but actually more positive than negative, surprisingly. I told some friends about it. Well, next time I went to a pub, actually just for a drink or a beer, but somebody ordered a pizza from outside through delivery. And so I explained it to them, I can't sit with you guys now. I'm going to go to another table. And, you know, they, of course, they asked a whole bunch of questions, why vegan and all this stuff, and also came with objections. But eventually they kind of understood. And the next time we had a similar situation, and even one of my friends who's not vegan, he spoke up for me, explaining the Liberation Pledge to another friend. So I thought, wow, that's okay. That's really nice.
That's good. You're lucky. I've got a couple of friends like that. I've got a great friend of mine, Amy, and even before I took the pledge, she would never eat animal products when she was with me, which was really nice of her. I never asked her to. She just automatically didn't do it. So you've had positivity from friends and family. They've been quite supportive of it.
Most of it. At the very beginning, I think family was a little strange about, kind of like with comments like, oh, come on, what are you doing? Like, no big deal, kind of this kind of comments.
Yeah.
Not
How
all
did you?
family, just somebody, I think.
Yeah, same with me. Just some family are like thinking it's extreme. So
Yeah.
how did you go about explaining to them, to your family and friends? How did you explain to them what the pledge was and why you'd taken it? Did you sit them down like Alex Bez did with his mum? He went for coffee with her, didn't he?
Yeah. No, I did it kind of on a situational basis. So when the situation came up, I just said right there, you know what, I took this pledge, and it means I cannot sit with you as long as you eat chopped up body parts of murdered innocent animals. And I said it kind of with these words in Czech mostly, because at that time I was also in the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And the only thing what I did prepare the verbiage a little bit, because my Czech is very good. It's actually my native tongue, but because I grew up in Germany, German is my actual native tongue.
Yeah.
And Czech got a little bit less, so I'm not as confident in Czech sometimes. So I just prepared it and explained it to them, and yeah.
Yeah. I think the mistake I made is I told my mum over the phone, and I think I should have met her face to face and explained it that way. Not that went well down well with some other people that I told face to face, but I think if I had done it with my mum, and then she could have seen my emotions, and I think that's important. From my first video that I did, and I talked about my reasoning for taking the pledge, I did get quite upset in it, and my brother watched it, and he was like, "Do you know what? I get it, and I'm not going to put you in that situation again." So I think if I'd have been a bit more open, then that might have helped. I think emotion does help. Have you had any negative experiences since taking the pledge?
Not really, other than, as I said, some of the usual comments of, hey, this is too extreme, you know, like, don't be ridiculous, kind of that. But it wasn't like, nobody went and canceled me for that, or nobody was upset or even offended. And they understood after a little bit, they understood.
And have you had any situations where you found it difficult to, have that, live the pledge, like at work or anything like that?
Yeah, I think in the airplane or on the train, I remember one situation, I think it was on the train, and the train was full, and the guy took out a ham sandwich next to me. And I was just going to tell him, but because the train was full, it was like, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to make him stand? And it's like, it's not your friend, it's a stranger. So there I realized, the Liberation Pledge is not like 100% written in stone, and this is what you have to follow, but also use your own discretion. And when situations like these, you just kind of let it go. Like, it wouldn't help this person. They might get upset, right?
Yeah.
That they can't eat their
I get
sandwich.
that. I had a funeral to attend last year, and I had to sit because of COVID and people distancing. There was like 6 people to a table, and unfortunately I had to sit with people that weren't vegan, but it's a funeral. I'm not I'm not going to talk about it there because it was inappropriate. But yeah,
Right.
I get what you mean. There are some difficult situations. Can you give me an example of a positive experience of your pledge?
Well, I think the positive experience was that one of my friends spoke up for me,
Yeah.
explained it to me, explained it to the other friends. I call people like that vegan allies. And I know it's kind of a confusing term, but they basically do support what you're doing. I have to say that his son is vegetarian, so maybe that has some kind of an influence on that. But he himself, he told me straight up that he will never go vegan. That he grew up on meat and all this stuff. So, and I told him, yeah, never say never. But
I
that was,
grew up on meat. A month before I went vegan, I was at a meat festival. So you never know.
wow. Okay, yeah.
I actually had photos come up on my Facebook today to remind me, and it was because it's 4 years in August that I went vegan. And 4 years ago today, I was at the meat festival. So there's photos on my Facebook page and my memories of me eating meat and queuing up. There's even a video of me going up and getting free samples. Like
Wow.
I don't even know who that woman is. But yeah, that's a really positive experience. Your friend speaking up for you and about that. And I found for me, I don't know about for you, but when I would talk about veganism and animal rights to people before I took the pledge, when we were at the table, it would always end up in some sort of argument or
Yeah.
discussion, and it would just be awkward and there'd be an air around. Whereas I found now talking about it, well, I don't need to talk about it. I find that because I've taken the pledge and they know that I've taken the pledge, they tend to bring it up more. I don't know if you find the same.
Yeah, I found the same experience because it's like you set a boundary, and then it's like if they care about you, they will not cross that boundary or question it or whatever. But yeah, before it was like, somebody said right next to you, and it was like you were smelling this dead food and something it can't even be called food. I mean, if it's not vegan, it's not food, right?
No.
So whatever, the dead matter, and yeah, and like I said, it will get into arguments and just weird vibes. So setting a clear stance, or setting your own boundary, just helps tremendously for both parties involved.
And I haven't had this happen to me. I have heard of some people that have taken the pledge happen to them. But have you managed to get anyone else to go vegan because of the pledge?
Not directly, I think.
Not yet.
Uh,
There's always time, Michael.
but there's time, and indirectly it's possible. And I know a couple of friends told me they've been reducing because of my activism, but that was more, they don't live in the same city, so the Liberation Pledge wouldn't apply so much unless I see them.
Yeah.
Well,
And
another positive experience actually I did find that I forgot to mention is that some people who are open enough, they, first of all, they respect it. Like when we go out for beer, some of them respect, they don't order any food. We just have beer and pretzels or chips. Some people don't respect it too. I also had to just the other day, we played tennis and then we sat down and somebody brought a piece of dead flesh. And so I just stood up without saying a word because I know they know. So I just stood up and I walked around. I said, and then I came back and they finished that. But some of them are really respectful of that. And so I find that positive. And some people even are willing to go with you to a vegan restaurant. So that's good.
I had to purposely book a vegan restaurant for my birthday a couple of years ago because I know that if I didn't, that people there would have chosen the rotten flesh to eat. That's what I like calling it. I like calling it rotten flesh because it is rotten. As soon as you die, you start rotting.
Absolutely.
So, and so how does it, what has it meant to you? How has it affected you, the pledge? Has it had any effect on you personally by taking it? So for me, taking the pledge for me has made me more comfortable. I suffer with anxiety, and since going vegan and becoming an animal rights activist, that was the reason I took the pledge, because I was just seeing these images all the time. It's like, I can't be telling people on the streets to stop eating animals and then saying it's okay for my family and friends to eat animals in front of me.
Yeah.
And for me, it's helped me be more comfortable in social situations. For you, what effect has the pledge had for you?
Well, for me, as previously mentioned, it set a clear boundary. So now I don't have to deal with all these, oh, why are you removing yourself from the table suddenly? Okay, and so on. And of course, there is always new people that we have to explain it to, but that's not as big of a deal. And so that was the benefit number one. And benefit number two was also that I feel good about it myself, contributing to the cause again, because it is another effective form of activism.
100% agree, Michael. It's definitely an effective form of activism.
So that affected me in that way that I feel like I'm doing a lot. You can never do enough, but I know I'm doing a lot, and I can say, I'm proud of what I've achieved so far.
And I'm proud of every vegan that is active. Like, I think
Same for me.
Yeah, every active vegan. I don't know. I don't care what you, as long as you're not putting the animals at risk, whatever activism you're doing, I'm proud of you, and I back you and 100% behind you, definitely. So what would you say to others out there that have thought about the pledge and maybe, still need that little push and that little reassurance? What would you say to inspire them to take the Liberation Pledge?
So you don't have to be as rigid and strict about it. So the situations we talked about before, you can make an exception, right? This is nothing, it's not like a school exam where you get graded on. You should be consistent in it. So my motto is, if it's possible, apply it. If it would create strange vibes, like at an airplane, or like in your case at the funeral, that little one situation is not worth it, creating even maybe more issues.
Yeah, more tension and arguments. Yeah,
because there will be so many other situations where you can easily apply this effectively, and it'll work. At least, it'll work to that extent that people realize, okay, this person is serious about veganism. And that's also really important, that Liberation Pledge shows how serious we are and that the message is consistent.
Agree. And that's the thing that I said before, it's about being consistent. Like I said earlier, I felt like I'm asking people on the streets to be vegan, but then I'm saying it's okay for family and friends not to be. And it's inconsistent, definitely, with my values and my beliefs.
Yeah, and then the other thing I would say is, like, maybe some people are a bit undecided because a lot of people wear the fork around the wrist, and it's not everybody's cup of tea, right? To have metal around the wrist. Like, I don't wear anything, but occasionally I wear this rubber band that just says "Go Vegan."
So I lost my fork bracelet. I don't know where it is. I've tried to look for it before I interviewed today, and I'm going to have to turn the house upside down or buy another one. I've actually got a load of old forks, so I might bend one and make my own. But yeah, you can get the rubber wristbands for the Liberation Pledge as well. So.
Oh, exactly. So it's really not a big deal. This little, which could be very effective too. But yeah, you don't have to fear that now you have to wear a fork around your wrist.
Not at all. That's great. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you both at this time and about your activism. You're really very calming. There's something about.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's something about you that's very calming and relaxing. And I found out with a girl from Austria that I spoke to as well. So maybe it's just that part of the world that you're all very laid back and easy to talk to.
Yeah, we tried to be laid back, but because I also lived on the west coast of the United States, and people there are very laid back. So maybe I kind of got this
Yeah,
this
West Coast vibe. Is that what they
West
call
Coast
it?
vibe. California, Oregon. Yeah. I wanted to. Can I add one more thing about the Liberation Pledge? It kind of
course.
goes along.
Yeah.
Some vegans might be wondering, like, or might get into a situation like, hey, your mom asks you, oh, can you buy me a piece of cheese or something? And so that's a topic to discuss, because in a way that's in the same vein as the Liberation Pledge. And I've done this from early on, very early on when I became vegan. I said, I'm not buying anything non-vegan for anybody. I'm not even gifting it. And so that could be another effective way of showing, especially family, friends, how serious you are with veganism.
Agreed. Yeah, my husband refuses to buy any animal products. His mum will ask him to get him some milk on his way over, and he'll get her plant-based milk instead. And now she's drinking plant-based milk all the time. So that has, what she's not vegan, but she's switched from cow's breast milk to plant-based milk. So I agree. I would never buy any animal products, not at all. Wouldn't do it.
Absolutely. No matter what the situation is. I mean, even if your family member is sick or something and they really need your help, then
just buy them the vegan version.
Then you buy them the vegan version. But if they don't want it, you don't buy them anything.
No.
Because I've had family members, they don't want the vegan version instead, for whatever reason, too expensive or tastes different or whatever. So you just don't buy anything. And then.
But yeah, no, I agree. I couldn't, if someone asked me to, I wouldn't be able to. So I'd probably say, look, is there someone else you can ask, or are you happy to have the vegan version? I'm happy to help you out, but I will only buy you the vegan version.
Exactly.
That's a great point. I'm glad you made that.
Thanks.
No, thank you. Thanks again for coming and for joining me. And I'll see you soon, hopefully.
See you soon.
At the concert we talked about before.
Yes, definitely.
I hope you enjoyed that. If you didn't see Michael's original interview with regards to his activism, then I'll check a link up here so you can find it. If you have been inspired to take the Liberation Pledge like Mike, then please drop a comment below in the description. We'd love to find out. And check out the links for the Liberation Pledge support page as well. I want to say a huge thank you to my Patreon to support me on my Patreon page for as little as £1 a month. You can help me improve my content and also get better equipment so I can film outreach videos out on the street. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's just there. It's there. Just here. Just right there. Hit the subscribe button. Like and share this video. And I'll see you next time.